Hi everyone, this is Gabriel the Phone Angel with the second review, but it's not with a new phone. It's with the first phone I bought with my money and I felt pretty happy with it. This is the Nexus 6P. I had it for around a year and I thought I'd like to tell you my experience with it now. And trust me, it's not going to be that pretty. So, this is my review of the Nexus 6P. Let's start off with the design. I've always loved the design of the Nexus 6P. Functional, good, headphone jacks. I love that I still have a headphone jack. I have it on my new phone. I'm just scared maybe if I do re-upgrade, maybe I'll lose it again. But one thing I do like is also USB Type-C. I never realized that micro USB was sort of slow until I had the USB Type-C. Then there's the display. The display of the Nexus 6P is so good, and I miss the good old AMOLEDs from Samsung's. I wish that they didn't put an LCD on my Samsung Galaxy J6 Plus, but say la vie. Then there was the performance of the phone. The performance of the Nexus 6P was good, and pretty much reliable, even though it did cut out a few times. Let's also talk about the camera. And, well, with my past experience with that 12 megapixel camera at the back and an 8 megapixel camera at the front, it was so good, so great using that camera. Heck, I downloaded a Google Pixel camera at APK and it just made the Nexus 6P so much more better in that retrospect. But you know what's interesting? I didn't talk about this in the review of the Nexus 6P, and that was battery life. Oh, and let me tell you something. The battery life on this phone is absolute crap. So let's get into a few stuff real quick. So turns out that a lot of phones had, from the Nexus 6P, this unit, had a lot of battery drain. I was one of those people that had battery drain. It was just crazy. If it was a cold environment, it would die at a 49%. If it was warm, it would die roughly around 69%. And I was like, oh man, this doesn't make any sense. But all the time it was dropping and dropping, and it got more severe, where at one point it was around towards 90% and it would just drop. I have plenty of screenshots to say this is true, and it's just ridiculous. You notice that I haven't talked about the software. Well, that's because I do like the software. It's not that bad. But okay, so here's what happened. I sold my Nexus 6P recently to someone, and well, I didn't get a lot of money for it, but I was okay with that. But then the person that bought that phone came back to me because, well, actually, wait. So that person, he sold the phone a day after I sold it to him. And that guy says, hey, I ran into a boot loop. And I just felt like my heart sank. I never had that. And then I was like, that was the one thing I always feared about my Nexus 6P. And that guy had it. And I was like, ugh. So my concluding thoughts. I know this is a quick Nexus 6P review, but that's because I just wanted to post this out there as soon as I can. So I just like to say I I did like the Nexus 6P, but those were two things that I just really hated. If a phone cannot live on you through a whole day, then that's just ridiculous. And also that it was plagued by battery and boot loop issues. Yeah, I think that's just seriously super bad. So would I call it worth it or the absolute perfect phone of 2019? No and no. I am saying that this phone is not worth it in 2019. The Google Pixel 3a definitely dominates, although I am very cautious about the battery life that Google gives us, but I just have to say that, well, the new phones of nowadays are definitely more worth it than the Nexus 6P. And the Nexus 6P, in my last review, I said that it was basically my perfect phone. But reality strikes in, and that's not necessarily very true. Thank you guys for watching, and as I promised, we'll be able to get a next review next week. So, see you guys till then.